Hi guys, Steph here, and my channel is really about saving money in all ways. Little do-it-yourself, little crafts, little cooking, maybe some couponing, lots of ways to save money and teaching you how to do some new things that you might not be aware of. But today, I'm going to do something a little bit different that kind of really has nothing to do with that topic, but it is something that's of quite interest, a lot of interest to a lot of people. Nowadays, you see it advertised on TV quite frequently, that Ancestry DNA test. They also have like the 23andMe DNA tests, MyHeritage, and several other brandings of offerings for DNA tests that everybody can take for a fee, and the fees range greatly. But anyway, how my story began was like a couple years ago. For Christmas, I had told my husband that I would like to have the Ancestry DNA test. Nothing in particular, just thought the commercials looked pretty interesting, and learning what one's ethnicity is. So that was my main goal with having taken the test, or asked for it and have taken it. So I waited about 3 months for my results to come back. And by the way, the waiting time is significantly less nowadays, I've been told. But anyway, I waited the 3 months. I got my results back. I guess from having heard some stories from my mom and maybe some close relatives, I had heard that we had Irish in us, we had English in us. I also had been told that we had some Indian in us. So anyway, got my results back. And of course, I am a part Irish, and several other very close regions. And so that was all fine and dandy. You know, they show you the cute little pie chart that breaks it all down. And that was pretty neat. But then as I got to looking around the Ancestry website, I noticed there was another tab that I could click on. Well, when I clicked on it, there was a very, very long list of names, or screen names, abbreviations, or whatever name they wanted to put that represented them. There was a long, long list of that type of thing. Well, so I was like, what is this? Who are these people? Well, I got to studying, and I figured out that these are my genetic matches, my matches to other people whom have also taken the test, and it is genetically matching you to these people as being your relatives. And it also shows you, close relative, first cousin, second cousin, third cousin, probable fourth cousin or beyond, that type of thing. Well, so let's see, I looked at the list, and I had just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people listed, and by the names given, I couldn't really recognize any names or first names, last names, anything like that. So I scrolled on down through the whole entire list, and took me like forever. And then I was able to find one or two people with my mother's maiden name. So it was easy to do the process of elimination and determine that, okay, these people are my mom's family. So then they have this cool little feature where you can put a star by people's names to kind of mark them in whatever way you might want to do that. So I put a yellow mark there by that person because I knew that they were from my mom's family. And then I kept scrolling, and I couldn't find my father's last name or anything, well, first of all, I had no German in me. And I thought that to be extremely odd because, my father has a 100% without doubt. He has a German last name, and they are extremely German. Let's just put it that way. And there were no German last names. In fact, my pie chart did not even lead anywhere near Germany. So I had no German in me. So I was like, wow, how is this? So then I started reading and studying up on it even further. And I thought, okay, so, I continued looking through the list, studying the list. Well, then the couple people that I knew had to be from my mom's side of the family that I had put stars by their names, you can also scroll down their page and click on a little button that says matches. I clicked on matches, and that gave me the people also on the list who are also related to that person, people that you have in common with that person. So obviously, those are going to be the people from that person's side of the family. Does that make sense? I kind of said it confusing. Okay, I was able to figure out in that method by clicking on matches, coming up with the people we shared in common, and going right on down through there and putting yellow marks, yellow stars marked against all of those people to kind of separate those people from who's left, to kind of further examine them people and look at them, a lot more closely and try to see, where does my father fall into all this? Because, it's not making a lot of sense at this point. And I was really, really confused. So I started doing that, and kept looking, and no matter what I did, there was honestly just no matches at all that would lead to my father. And so I was at a loss. I was extremely confused. And also I was left with a whole new list of other people that weren't matching to my mom's family. And I knew that they could not belong to my father's family. There was just absolutely no match. So I finally, after a lot of studying and looking into everything much, much further, I determined that my father could not possibly be my father. Not only do I not have German, there's not one single people out of all these 100 people that lead back a genetic footprint back to my father. So, I kind of knew that there was no way he could be my dad. He could not be my father, meaning my mom had lied to me. Any other family members that may have known, I really don't know, but yeah, I would imagine that somebody else had to have known. But anyway, yeah. I found out that my father was not my father at all. Well, so then, that leads to the question of, okay, so who is my biological father? Do I know him? Is it the person that lived next door? Just who was this guy that apparently is my biological father? So then I started the whole process of trying to investigate and figure that out. Well, so I had to do a process of elimination by looking at the person that matched most closely to me, that I knew was not on my mother's side of the family. I got lucky. I actually had several second cousin matches from what would be my biological father's family. And if you have a close match, second cousin, first cousin, something like that, it's pretty easy to, relatively easy to do a process of elimination and work it back from there to come down to at least the exact family that your father has to be from. Now, if you don't have any close matches, I don't know if this could be done. If it could, it would be extremely difficult, and you might have to have, some trained person, genealogist or whatever, to help you out. It can be figured out, but yeah, it's not something just the average person can sit down and do. But anyway, back to my story. So I was able to backtrack and get it figured out who my father was, or rather who that family was, and then was able, through processing of elimination, figure out who was most probable my father, and then look deeper into that person to get even more answers. Well, as it turned out, the man that it got narrowed down to, he had a son and he had a daughter. And ironically, as I dug around some more and found out he had a daughter my age who was born the exact same year. So I was like, whoa, boy, was my father busy that year. You know, he conceived 2 children the same year from 2 different women. It was quite interesting. I have to say my mouth kind of fell open more than once through this whole process. Um, then I was able to make contact with that would-be half-sister and talked her into doing a DNA test of her own to see what it rated, came back and rated us as being, how we were related. And it put us as very close family, or put us as close family. And then when you looked at the numbers, the number of genetics that her and I shared, that number is only represented in such a way that really she could have been my half-sibling. I guess if she would have been, say, like, for example, a full sibling, I think it would have showed sibling. I'm not really sure in that case, but I think it would show full sibling. But in this case of us only being half siblings, it showed us to be half siblings. I think there was some other possibilities, grandparent, grandchild connection, niece, nephew connection, and none of these things were possible, with us being the same age. I wasn't her grandparent, she wasn't my grandparent, quite obviously. So yeah, it was really easy to narrow it down. And then, I got to know, long story short, got to meet my father, got to meet her, my half-sister. I've yet to meet my half-brother who lives the other side of the United States. It was all really neat. I mean, I guess overall, if I had it to do again, I would probably do it just because I'm that kind of person. I can't just let stuff go and move on. Probably like you should do, I don't know. But yeah, it really bothered me, and I had to know, once that much was found out, I had to go ahead and know who my biological father was, just who is this man. So was able to find him, and I saw a lot of similarities in the two of us as far as, our appearance and features we had in common and all that. Same with the half-sister. I was shocked that her and I also shared some similarities. Even though we have different moms, we shared some facial similarities. Let me just put it that way. But I guess my point here is with this is I'm not going to give too much information about my particular situation because, I don't want to invade other people's privacy or, anything like that. So I'm going to be real, just kind of discreet with saying how my personal situation has gone. But let me warn you on the fact that if you choose to take these tests, these DNA tests, you need to realize that you may do like me. You may end up finding stuff that you never expected or you never knew to be the case. You may find out you're an illegitimate child. You could find out you're the product of rape, incest, I don't know, lots of things, that just really could be the case. You could find out you were adopted when you didn't know you were adopted. Just lots of facts that for a lot of people would be majorly life-changing and for some people even devastating. So you have to look at yourself, take a deep look inside you, and kind of try to determine how you would feel if you were to discover these things, because hey, it could happen to you too. I've heard from many people whom the same thing has happened. Lots of even adopted people who have found that they were adopted or that knew they were adopted from the get-go and were trying to find biological parents. Lots of people have been majorly let down. There is nothing like the feeling of rejection from a parent or from what you learn to be your sibling. There's nothing like the hurt that comes from being rejected from, say, like the parent that you find that you know is actually your parent. And I just want to caution everybody that all these things are possible. In fact, from what I've learned, it's probably a more possible scenario that if you go chasing these people down, like me and many other people have done, there's a pretty good, probably more than average possibility that these people will not embrace you and welcome you right into the family. In a lot of cases, this will mean that your father or whatever cheated on the other, and that's been unknown up until you pop up. Family members may not know you were adopted, and maybe your parent didn't want nobody to know they had a child and were adopted or have adopted you out. Just many different scenarios are possible with these DNA tests. So you just need to be really careful with going into this. There's a lot of insightful information and cool things that everybody should be able to find out about themselves. But if you're not the type of person that can deal with these findings, then maybe you should rethink, getting one of these tests. And even if you still want to find out your ethnicity and see that cool little pie chart, I also want to make it known that you can do that. It's first and foremost, that's what you're going to see, is you're going to see your ethnicity and your ethnicity estimates and the cool information that they give you on where your ancestors are from and about them regions, and lots of cool facts. You have to specifically click on and go further in the process of seeing the people that they have matched you to as being related to you. You have to specifically click on that and search that out. It's not something that's just going to be right there in front of you in your face. So, if you do want to take the DNA test just for the purpose of finding out your ethnicity, I would urge you, by all means, just go ahead and do that. That is really cool. I definitely would do that again in a heartbeat. I'm not so sure, though, that I would go into the whole DNA part of it. Personally, I don't regret it, but that's just how my situation went. But I do know it is more common than not for people to be rejected and have to deal with that hurt, and it's been devastating for a lot of people. So, you really need to put some thought into this and take some care into thinking it all through before you go down this journey, and it truly is a journey. But again, like I was saying, if you just want to determine your ethnicity, you can definitely do that. You don't have to look into the free information also provided about who your relatives are that have also tested. Now, the next question I'm asked quite frequently when people hear I've taken this test is, what company would I suggest a person use? Well, they're all pretty, at this point, they are all pretty equal when it comes to determining your ethnicity. So I would say just whatever's the cheapest one, go with it. Save yourself some money. For just determining your ethnicity and seeing that cool little pie chart and all that, any of them, they're all pretty equal. But now if it comes to trying to find birth parents or anything that I just discussed, or seeing that chart or any of those things, or finding relatives to maybe further your family tree, any of those factors regarding direct people, I would absolutely say use Ancestry DNA. The reason being is that they have the largest database of people whom have tested, so they're going to give you the most matches. And it's not even anywhere close. I need you to understand that Ancestry has substantially more people in their database that they have the DNA from. So by all means, you're going to have a much better end result with going with Ancestry, where you have more people that can come back matched to you to help you figure out your individual mystery. So absolutely go with Ancestry DNA. And if you can't afford it, it's too expensive, just hang tight and watch their website or join their Facebook group for Ancestry DNA. They do very often offer specials and sales. Back 2 years ago when I had it done, it was $99, which is full price. But lots and lots of times since then, I have seen that they run sales. Now I think they're quite commonly on sale for $59, which, you know, that's much better. So anyway, yeah, I would say if you want to do this little journey and make these discoveries about your personal life, by all means go for it. But, you know, I just want to make it known and express the fact that you need to be really careful and give a good amount of thought to it before you go down that journey and kind of peek into those private aspects of life that previously were unknown, and in some cases better off unknown. But anyway, I hope you had a great experience. I hope I've been helpful in helping you to decide what to do and in hearing my story. If you would like to join my page, please click subscribe. I will definitely be sharing more information on the DNA tests and show you more about on screen what I've noticed and how I navigated through it and that type of thing. That's going to have to be another video though. But yeah, go ahead and take your DNA test and enjoy it. I wish you all the best. I hope it works out positive and it ends up being a fantastic experience for you. So yeah, subscribe, hit that button so you'll be informed every time I upload a video. And until next time, guys, bye.